Wow.
From when my dad used to put his hands on my mom, and I would see, and I'm knowing myself, I wanted to do something. I was so young. It was probably like 4 or 5, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I have so much resentment towards my father and my anger. Like I learned how to forgive him, but that doesn't mean I have to mess with you. Like I forgive you from a distance, because I talked to him about it. I asked him, hey, like, he wanted something from me. And I asked him, like, hey, do you remember when you used to put your hands on my mom? And he was like, no, that's not how it went. I was on the YouTube, and I said, I never had a father figure in my life. And then he texted me and said, hey, what do you mean? I've always been there for you. I said, yeah, but we wasn't close like that. It's just we never had a father figure. Right. So then he said, well, why is that? I said, because you.
Okay, y'all want attention? Okay, if Jalen was her age, you would say he's grooming her. Yeah, because he's a man, sweetie. Because he's a man. And that is what I have seen men do. I've seen men groom women over and over and over again. We've seen it with Latrice and Cliff over there on Bell Collective. That dynamic plays out a lot different than what we see from Jalen and Falyn. Okay. But she's the older one, so she can't groom him. He's just a no good guy. Did I say that? Did I say he was a no good guy? No, I didn't say that. What I said was the way he is getting on this podcast to make himself a victim and to say that she groomed him when he was a grown adult, when he entered into the relationship with her. He is also a male. He's not a female. He has not been socialized his entire life to give his life over to some woman. That is not what he's been taught. So yeah, I'm sorry. I am going to always look at the dynamics between men and women differently, because men and women are different. Okay? But I feel like I absolutely still said what she was doing because I saw it on the show. I said what she was doing. I did. I said she's delusional and needs help and should have never been trying to have no fucking marriage with no 20-something-year-old. I've been saying that the whole time. But I'm also saying that her relationship with him is a trauma response from what she went through in her previous relationships when she was the younger person being told what to do by an older person. Do you see how that makes the situation slightly different? We don't know about Cliff being with some older woman that groomed him to get him to where he is as the fucking 50, 60-year-old man married to a 30-year-old woman. I think there's a difference. And I wish y'all would stop acting like men and women are not different. And that when women do things, it can sometimes be different from when men do things, including having relationships with younger people. I'm going to continue on, but I'm just saying, y'all, I feel like, y'all, it sounds like you saying I didn't call her to task at all. And I feel like I absolutely did. And I also feel like the relationship we see between Cliff and Latrice is a perfect example of a man getting with a younger woman in her 20s and grooming her. Do you see how that lady can't even leave that relationship? This man is on a podcast telling us that he done left this woman and they not together anymore, meaning that she's not holding him hostage. There's a difference. There's a difference.
You should put your hands on my mom. First thing he told me, she deserved it. And I lost it right there.
Wow.
I lost it right there. And I haven't forgave him for it ever since. Mm-hmm. But when I was on a couples retreat, I learned that I had that resentment. And I went through some hypnosis thing where I had to let it go.
Okay.
Let it go so I can be myself.
Right.
And I wouldn't be him.
So you talk about, well, I do want to ask you real quick, because a lot of times we're in relationships and so many people lean on the fact that the pain is just unbearable. Mm-hmm. It's like, how can I forgive somebody for this whole traumatic thing? But can you speak a little bit more about how you forgiving, it's kind of like you getting your power back, you know what I mean? And allowing that hurt to go so that you can start your healing journey. Can you speak to that a little bit more, please?
I can't speak too much on it because I just forgave
Gotcha.
my
Okay,
ex.
I got
So
you.
it's a new phase.
New phase, gotcha.
And I learned, like, just watching podcasts and videos, that if you don't forgive them and accept it, you will never move on. Doesn't mean we have to, be cool with it. You just have to forgive it so you can start, like you said, your healing journey. And that.
So forgiving her and starting your healing journey is calling her a predator and saying she groomed you. Okay, I'll receive that. Let's continue on.
That's where I was lacking, and I didn't accept it, and I never forgave her yet. So my healing journey is still going. It's new. I'm still finding my healing journey. Okay. And that's probably why I can't connect with anybody yet, because I'm just starting a real healing journey. I thought I was when we broke up. I thought it was my healing, but it wasn't, because I didn't forgive her yet.
Right.
And now I forgave her, so now I'm finding my way now.
Okay.
Proud of you, brother. I know that's not easy.
Absolutely. How do you think your childhood experience shaped you as a
Thank you for saying this, because even in their dynamic on the show, she didn't have any power over him. She might have talked to him mean, and y'all know how y'all love to blow whenever a woman is mean to a man verbally. Y'all like to blow that up to act like that's the same thing as, physical abuse and other types of abuse that take place in relationships. Y'all really try to equal it out, like the way a woman speaks is the same as a man hitting her. Like, it's really fucking not. But y'all like to do that. But I'm glad you said this, Foxy Tay. What power did she have over him in the infamy from reality television? Because I'm gonna just keep it a buck. She couldn't even get that nigga to come and fuck her a lot of the time. Like, when they were on the show, she wanted him to come upstairs and spend time with her. He wants to be downstairs gambling and talking to the other niggas. She like, come upstairs and fuck me. He like, no, you're not going to tell me what to do. If y'all really think that she was over there controlling him, it's because you don't know what you're talking about. But if you was watching the show, you would have saw that the things that she was asking for from him was not control. It was affection. And he wouldn't give it to her because the way she said it sounded like she was telling him what to do, and he don't want to be told what to do. Okay. Okay. That's what I saw when I saw them on the show. Thank you, Fee, for the super chat. Why are people acting like men and women aren't socialized differently? So in consequence, relationship and power dynamics will play out differently. Thank you, ma'am. I don't know why. Yes, grooming is some form of power imbalance. Exactly. And it also feels like he's watching Manosphere videos. Absolutely. That's what it also feels like. And what they teach you in the Manosphere is anything that a woman says to you that sounds smart, say it back to her. Say it back to her. It don't matter if it's true or not. Just say it back to her. Let's continue.
As an adult, in terms of your relationships, like what you saw, how you respond now, how do you think those experiences impacted you?
It impacted me because I get very defensive in arguments, and I put up walls, and I throw, I would say anything to make sure I hurt that person.
Wow. Okay.
Just to make sure.
Like saying
and
they
it's like
you?
all I know is I have myself, and nobody's going to help me but me.
Right.
So I had to defend for myself, and that's because I couldn't defend for my mom. I couldn't defend my mom, so I resented myself for that. So I'm like holding on to that grudge, and I couldn't be the best father I could be to our 3 other children that we had, because I just was so stuck on my dad's life and how he treated my mom, me and my sister. I was always just stuck in those ways. And after I forgave him, I just let it go. And I've been doing better than I was months ago.
Come on now. I love all these smart people in my comments. Teresa G, reinforcement from your environment is huge. Messaging to men and women around submission is vastly different. Thank you. Because y'all act like it's the same. It's not.
What's interesting, right, to his point, just me thinking things that affected my childhood, right? It's like I never saw or heard about true monogamy. Like people just actually being about one another. Everything was more so either somebody is physically cheating or emotionally or mentally cheating, or there is something in some way, shape, or form from the man and from the woman. And then
okay. So I feel you on this. Grooming is a term used to define adults preying on minors. I'm having an issue relating that word to adults. I agree with you. I really do agree with you on that. But I also want to impress upon everybody how much young women are groomed throughout their childhood and into adulthood to make decisions centering men. I want everybody to keep that in mind when we have these conversations, because men are not socialized or raised to center women in their decision making. Women may pull them sexually or emotionally, whatever you want to call it, but essentially men are still going around making decisions that put them in the center of their decision making. Even when it comes to a woman trying to throw her old cougar cat on you, he's still gonna look at the situation like, how is this going to benefit me? How is this going to benefit me to be in this dynamic? And then I can easily leave this dynamic because this woman cannot physically overpower me. You see what I'm saying? I want y'all to understand that the physical part of this, the mental, the socialization, y'all, it matters. It matters in the way we're able to just throw these words around, right? Because you can say what you want to, but, and I keep using Cliff and Latrice as an example because I feel like that's the people that come to the forefront of my mind when we talk about like that dynamic of grooming. Grooming is also brainwashing, okay? Like it's also a form of brainwashing, right? Men who are predators specifically pick young women like Latrice that already had these things going on beforehand that made her prime picking for what he wanted her for. So even though she can be in her 20s, she's still having the mental trauma responses of a little girl. So a grown man understands that. He sees that. He takes advantage of that. Grooms her throughout her early years, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Now that she's in her fucking 30s, she's still acting like a child because she's been groomed. She hasn't been taught to be autonomous completely, a grown woman completely, because somebody is still trying to parent her. So understand that Falyn doing this to Falyn having this exact probably same type of dynamic with the men in her life based on Simon being older than her, being the one with the money, being able to up and leave and go start a whole new marriage relationship with another bitch and leave her just wherever the fuck she was to figure it out on her own. Okay? Understand that she has already been groomed and she's already been fucked up in the mind because of whatever happened before. You know what I'm saying? So Simon and every other man was able to continue the psychological brainwashing, and she's still brainwashed. You could tell because she's now looking to Jalen, who she feels safer with because he's not as old as the other niggas. He doesn't have the same power over her, but she wants him to play the same role. That's what she was doing on the show. On the show, Falyn wanted him to turn into this, you know, what she feels like a man is supposed to look like, somebody that protects and provides and all of that. But she's doing it with somebody that is not capable because they're only 20-something years old. But she was still trying to give him power in their dynamic. Take care of me. That's still somebody having power in that dynamic. Her trying to make him like Simon in the way of him providing for everybody. That's not the same thing as Latrice and Cliff. Even with her having her own business, doing all of those things, that man is still trying to control everything she does. He does not want to give her power. He wants to disempower her. He wants to take power away from her. There's a difference. Falyn wants to give this nigga power so he can take care of her because she feels like as a woman, I'm supposed to be taken care of. But I need to stop feeling unsafe with the men that I need to take care of me. That's what she was trying to make happen with him. There's a difference in my eyes, in my opinion. But I'm not saying that that means that Falyn is right in what she's doing. Please don't misunderstand me. But it's a different mindset. It's a different intention on what is happening. She's not trying to disempower him. She wants to give him power so he can take care of her. The men who groom want to disempower women so they don't have a choice and they have to stay with them. There's a difference. Thank you, Lily Sweet, for the super chat. Ooh, child, I think some people want to be willingly stupid. Don't let them get under your skin, Bondy. This boy sound like he learned the word grooming and I was using it willy-nilly. He's full of it. Oh, I'm not really upset, y'all. But like as a Gemini in Mercury and in Sun sign, I do not mind explaining things the slow way so everybody can hear me.
I do believe monogamy exists, right? I know that it's there, but I didn't really see.
So, like, if you're not a member of my channel, I'm literally giving y'all a free BondyBlue show with this shit that I'm doing right now. Because when I do all of my other topics, they'll be behind my paywall. Just so y'all know.
A true example from somebody I personally knew, not until the last 2 or 3 years of my life.
Wow.
So this whole time, including my family dynamic, personal stuff I've gone through, my own stuff, like I've just never seen it. And then me being a hooper, that's like, you don't never hear about them stories of guys who are actually, you know, faithful or different things like that. And I'm not here judging or knocking, but it's just interesting.
Okay. But that sounds like grooming to me. That's just her way of manipulating her situation to her benefit. I see your perspective, but I disagree. I respect that. But I also feel like, did you hear me when I said the power part? Are you also taking that into account in your disagreement with me about the subject matter? Because we can disagree, but did you also understand that part of it? Because that's the part that I feel like everybody is not understanding. The power dynamic, whether power is being given or taken, that is absolutely what makes this different. It doesn't matter if you feel like it's manipulation, because essentially it's all manipulation, correct? He's manipulating her, she's manipulating him. The way he is saying she groomed him, it's like he's trying to make it seem how it sounds when men groom young women, and that's to disempower them. A man that's making money, a man that's taking care of a family has the power to basically not protect or provide for that family. He still has power in that dynamic. You see what I'm saying? So there's a difference. You can say that everything is manipulation, but to ignore the power dynamic in the situation is to really ignore the whole situation, to me.
Just had that thought when you were saying that.
Yeah, I think I can definitely identify with what you said when you said you would say something hurtful to make sure it hurt the other person. Because sometimes I've been that. You feel like your power is being taken, and that's all you have, right? And then you use your words because you feel. For me, I felt powerless, and so I like to say the old. What is it? The saying that says "hurt people, hurt people." You know, and I found myself doing that, but it wasn't until. I mean, I still struggle in certain areas, but it wasn't until I started doing the healing work and building healthy self-esteem and learning to love myself and
like a rebound.
Making that practical. Because, you know, people say, well, you got low self-esteem, you need to build your self-esteem, but how do you do that practically? And for me, that was thrusting myself into my purpose, into my God-given assignment, and finding fulfillment in that, and what God had called me to do, which is have these conversations with people. I mean, one of the reasons why I even have co-ministry or have this podcast is because of the trauma that I've experienced in my own life in terms of, relationship. And even growing up, my dad wasn't abusive physically, but he definitely was a cheater. Okay. He was an amazing dad to me, but I watched him destroy 2 marriages by having children with the same woman, but during 2 different marriages, right? So I have 2 siblings by the same person, but he was married to my mom and then to my brother's mom. So I can certainly identify with that. How do you think those experiences did those experiences impact your relationship with Falyn?
Well, we should probably come back after this break.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
Communicate effectively with her. It definitely did have an impact on.
Do love and hip hop.
I couldn't express myself.
I don't feel like it.
I didn't know how to express myself. I didn't know how to communicate effectively when it came to talking with her. And I'm sorry, and just memories going in my head right now. Yeah, it was just I couldn't communicate effectively with her. So that was our main issue. And my delivery always came off wrong when I didn't mean to say it that way, but it just came off of argumentative. And one thing that was really bad in our relationship, when I spoke about something, she made it seem like when I expressed myself about something, she made it seem like I was arguing. And that was a big problem in our relationship when it came to communicating effectively. So yeah, it did.
All right. I want to go back to what you shared with me about the couples retreat and what did you learn in terms, because I want to pull it all together in terms of that relationship. What did you learn through that experience?
Self-love and boundaries.
And what did you learn? What did you learn? What was taking place? What was revealed to you during that time that was taking place in your relationship that you wasn't aware of?
When it started with the kids. So her mom wanted to move her 2 kids and that put more stress on me as a man taking care of everything. So I had to learn how to set boundaries and say no. Like, it doesn't matter about how they feel, how it's going to affect them. Just say no. And when it came to self-love, I was never putting myself first. I didn't know my self-love. I didn't know my self-worth. I was everybody's, do this, do that boy, the do boy. That's just, I didn't have self-love and I care for people so much.
To be clear, y'all can lie about it now all y'all want to, but when you were originally introduced to us, you were an assistant.
That it never affected me until I learned that I was not putting myself first.
I want to ask you, because we all have the TV view of how you guys connected in the first place. Talk to us about how you and her connected in an intimate relationship, because remember on my other show, I said something about being the pool boy. Let us know how this thing first began.
I was groomed.
What do you mean by that?
I was groomed, and the way she made it seem as if he was doing her wrong. And then when I come to find out, I'm on the other side now. So
okay, so let's just stop right there. What did he just say? Because y'all are sitting up here, acting like, everybody's so smart in the comments, right? So did you peep this moment? Did you peep this moment right here? Because to be clear, is anybody confused about if he did her wrong or not? Why is he trying to make it seem like Falyn lied about Simon doing her wrong, where we clearly saw him cheating on her with Portia?
Is a narcissist. She groomed me and got me together with telling me like he's doing this to me, and I felt sad for him. Being a friend, that's what narcissists do. They groom you.
So yeah, it sounds like you heard the buzzwords and now you're going to apply them to her in a way that may or may not be true. This is manipulative to me, but let's continue.
To make the other person look bad. So when you do something, you won't feel bad about it because you feel as if they were treating that person wrong. Right. So I felt bad for her. And I saw that she was a great friend. She was a great person. And, we were out in Cancun, and, drinking. And one thing just led.
To be clear, we all know that both relationships started before they broke up. What the fuck are y'all talking about in the comments? Duh. That's what we know that. Duh. Everybody was cheating. Duh. That's what's been put out the entire time. The point still remains that this man was absolutely dogging her out. So why are you acting like he was not dogging her out?
It's another, and that's just how it happened. And right there, that's when I knew I was in love with it. Right. And it was too late to turn back.
So when you
let him bring this one piece out, I want people that's watching the show to also be aware of the age difference.
Yes. 9 years apart.
Okay, you're 9 years. And how old are you now?
About to be 25 in November.
And
she's 34.
Okay, go ahead.
So yes, there's a 10-year age difference. As I have been talking about this entire time, I love how they tried to drop that bomb like we didn't know that. Girl, all right.
So you talked about self-love, right, and boundaries. What do some of your boundaries look like now versus how they may have been a year or 2 years ago, or while you were in your relationship?
Saying no and doing what's best for me, and stop thinking about everybody else.
I don't know. To me, Shay K, I hear that you really want to argue on Jalen's, because you don't like Falyn. I get it, baby. I understand you don't like the lady. It's her fault. It's all her fault. I get it. I understand. You don't have to argue with everything that I say. You can really find somebody that shares your perspective on it if it bothers you that much. But I'm going to just tell you, like, at the end of the day, it looks to me as if Falyn was oblivious to whatever the fuck was going on at first and then figured it out and then reached outside of her door for this little nigga during her marriage. Absolutely. But you can't tell me that the Portia and Simon's situation wasn't happening first. You can't tell me that. You just can't. You can't. I'm sorry. You know why? Because if Simon was still in the household, they wouldn't have had a chance to fuck around because they were in the house. He worked in the house. If Simon was there, I don't think that any of that probably was happening like that. But Simon was traveling out of town to go see Portia and shit.
And not even letting people come into my peace, where I'm at in peace. Those are my boundaries. It's still a new list. It's every day. You never know where you need to set your boundaries at. But my main boundaries are right now is learning how to say no and not letting negativity come into my area, and learning how to stop arguing.
I didn't give her any passes. I didn't give her any passes. I didn't give her any passes. What are you talking about? When did I give her a pass?
Because now you're ruining my peace. If you have to make me argue with you, you're ruining my peace now, and you're disturbing me, and you can't be around me. So those are my boundaries for me. Just
I agree.
Make sure I put myself first.
We're gonna let him keep. Thank you, hey Nate. I appreciate you, boo. I agree with you.
Yes, bro.
So one of the reasons why I asked you to talk about your experience on couples retreat, right? And I brought up how you guys connected, is because initially you were saying that, you do. I'm not saying that the arguing is the right way to go, but what I am saying is that I don't want you to beat yourself up because you wasn't the only one in that.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? There was a level of manipulation, which I think you discovered that on the show, right? What did AJ say about that?
Okay, yes, it's all Simon's fault for manipulating her. Did I say that? Is that what I said? Is that exactly what I said? Or is that how you digested what I said? Because that's not what I said. But okay. I said that she's thinking, I'm trying to use her previous relationships to show you she's not grooming him, because grooming shows a pattern of behavior. How is she grooming him if she's the one that's been groomed? That was the point behind that. Yeah, this person must be new to my channel. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm very female-centered. I am woman-centered because I am a woman. So I am not going to put this man at the center of my grace or my my grace. I'm not going to be giving him grace over giving her grace because I'm a woman. That's how I work.
Well, I won't say I'm beating myself up about it. That's how I had to take accountability. I had to take accountability for my things that I lacked, and as in my person to forgive her, so I can go on my healing journey. So I'm not beating myself up about it. I'm just taking accountability and telling you what I learned, so I can move on for myself. But AJ told me, she told me, she warned me, and she kept saying, "You guys need to take a break because she needs to heal. You need to heal," and we didn't listen because we were two people that were in love. Well, I was in love. I don't know how you just move on the next day with somebody else, but I was in love. And after they went public, she said, "I told you, Jalen, now it's time for you to find yourself and go on your healing journey and actually heal, and don't go chasing after. No matter, you guys can find each other later down the road, but right now you have to focus on yourself because you're young. You don't know yourself yet."
And to be clear, when he filed for divorce, it came out months ago that he filed for divorce, so they broke up or he left or whatever. I was happy. They don't need to be together. That was very obvious.
They say a man doesn't mentally even grow until 25 and know themselves, because I don't even know what I want to do in life. Now I'm just living and just going day by day and taking care of my daughter.
No, I don't. It's my opinion.
Quick question.
I don't.
What does love look like to you now? And I know you talked about from an age standpoint being young, right? But a person's
now see, hold up. This is how I felt. I don't want to say your name wrong, Aisha. I don't want to say it wrong, but I feel like this is how I felt before he got up here and said that lady groomed him. Before he got up here in this interview to make her out to be a villain, that's exactly how I felt. It was both of them being fucked up.
Experiences,
this is what's making me,
you know what I mean? Because there are a lot of people, man, that can go through a hell of a lot of things, even at a young age. But your perspective based on prior to the relationship and meeting her, and then where you are now, does love look different? And if so, what does love look like now?
To me,
it doesn't look different. A person knows how to fool you, and they can love you. They love you. My ex, she loved me. She showed it, but she was manipulating me at the same time, using her tactics. So that is what love looked like to me. She did everything that I thought was love. She did everything. Like, she was a great mom with the kids. She loved me. She listened to me. But when things didn't go her way, that's when things stopped going her way, I will say. That's when the manipulation stuff started coming in, her narcissistic tactics, when I wasn't her do boy anymore. So I don't know what love looks like yet. I only know my mother's love, unconditional love. That's all I know. But love in a relationship, I don't know yet. I haven't seen it. I don't know. I know self-love, but I don't know. In a relationship, no, I don't.
All right. Well, guys, when we come back, we'll continue the conversation.
So did she love you or not? Like,
have the opportunity to express yourself. And I recognize that sometimes when you're in these highly emotional situations, you're not able to articulate how you feel or what you want to say because you have to process. I know, at least for myself, I have to process it, take a couple days, calm down, and then go back. One of the premises of this show is relationships really do matter. So I would like to offer our platform for you to be able to express some of those things that you didn't get to say.
Those things I didn't get to say was the reason because I didn't go and think about what I was going to say. I just said it right then and there, and it never came out right. So it was never understood, or she couldn't understand me. I never processed what I wanted to say. And I'm learning that now. That's why I stay so calm even within arguments, because I'm processing and how to make sure that my delivery, making sure that person can hear what I'm trying to say. Not hear, but understand as well. So that was a big problem in our relationship that I just didn't process my thoughts for her.
Okay.
And when it comes to the do boy, I learned that because at first I was her assistant. I don't think she ever took that out.
Right. So she continued along the path, but just turned it into a romantic relationship.
Yes, continued like that. So,
so was it still your job? Was it still your job? I'm just saying, y'all, like, as much as he's trying to make, she groomed me, like, I was her do boy. I was also her assistant. Like, what is it? To me, okay.
That was, I'm starting to realize that was definitely it, that she didn't take the assistant out my roles. And
well, now that you've had time to process, what has...
No, from what I understand, didn't he have another child before he got with Falyn?
Happened. You've had time to do self-reflection, look back on how things began, how things ended up. Is there something that you want to say that you never had a chance to say, whether it be to her, whether it be to people who followed you guys on television, or maybe something that happened in the privacy of your own home that you just never had a chance to articulate the right way?
Something to the fans that they need to tell me, what's the saying? You lose them, how you get them.
Oh, wow.
And that's exactly what happened.
This is to beg her, y'all. This is really to roll that lady around in the fucking mud. Like, it just feels very malicious. This feels malicious.
Got it. And here we are today. I wasted 2 years. I won't say I wasted 2 years in my life, but
he don't have no other children, y'all sure?
I lost myself within my relationship with her. And now I'm not alone to find myself again, when I helped her find herself in her relationship when she was lost. So now that I'm lost, I'm no longer good for her anymore.
Can you touch on, like, what do you feel some of the things that, like, one or two things that you lost about yourself?
My happiness, and my youth. I lost my youth, and I was willing. I knew what I was getting into.
Nigga, what 45-year-old woman was you listening to when you ate all of this up to regurgitate to us? Because you are still only 24 years old. Your youth is gone. It's been 3 years.
But I thought to myself, she lost her youth in her relationship. She wouldn't dare take that from me, because mind you, she was dating somebody that was 15, 20 years older than her. So she was me. And now I'm her in a relationship. I never thought that my youth would be taken from me. So that's something I definitely lost. Because I gave her youth back.
But you didn't lose it, though. I know it may feel that way right now, because you still gotta work through the healing process, but you didn't.
So what does he mean by youth? Yeah. Maybe somebody doesn't understand, because could it be because you had a child? Could it be like that youth, like that energy that's pep in your step type? Like, can you explain what you mean by that youth?
We had 4 children. I had 3 boys and my daughter and her 2 sisters and her uncle. So we were always doing something around the house, and I didn't have, like I said, I didn't have the energy to do things that I wanted to do for myself, and I didn't have the energy to give to the relationship either. Like I just was lost, and I was just
because he was too young to be in it. Because he was too young to be in it, which is why Falyn's old ass should have let him go. But again, this is a woman whose brain is obviously still in the space of a damn teenager on some level. It had to be in order for her to even want to be in a relationship with a boy this damn young-minded.
mentally, how do you say, mentally disconnected. And it's like it was a routine every day.
I would say you lost your youth if you spent 10, 15, 20 years with her.
Lucretia, thank you for the super chat. He sounds like he can cry at any moment if given the chance.
But 2 years, you will rebuild and restore.
Oh, I didn't say it was gone forever.
Okay.
I just said
for now.
It's actually
You're
back
being
down.
dramatic.
I would say, Josh,
so you're being dramatic.
Breakup. You know, what would you say to him to help him get past the place where he is right now, where he's hurting?
I think it was powerful that he mentioned it already. He's starting with himself. But I also think, too, in this deep healing journey, really.
To me, it sounds like you had a baby with a woman because you thought you was grown, okay? And then you found out that it was hard and you weren't going to be able to do whatever you wanted to do because you had a woman and kids to take care of and it was too hard and you wanted to punk out. Like, that's what it sounds like to me, which is the same old saying. That's the same old saying.
Really going back and peeling off them scabs, you know, your dad. I know for me,
Put that pussy on him.
you know, I have a very interesting relationship with my father, and that man growing up was my hero. But I learned a lot about him as time went on that I wasn't in favor of. I didn't judge him for that. It didn't change my love, but it definitely gave me a different perspective and it helped me understand why. You know what I mean? And the more I understood why, the less upset I was. Because it was like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, and I'm not saying we agree with the fact of any man putting his hands on a woman or any, like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, my dad has his fair share of things too.
Yep.
Bro used to do drugs. Bro used to, like, he was on his type of time. But at the end of the day, the more I peeled back, that just being one of those things that I had to dive into, it really helped me as a man, as a father. It helped me, you know, just be a better all-around person because I removed that pain and that guilt or whatever it was that I was feeling from that relationship because of the understanding which gave me superpowers. It was very clear for me, and it's not easy. You know what I mean? It's hurtful because it's nothing like us as men.
Okay. So at this point, this is when, thank you for this, because this is what I want y'all to understand about how manipulative he's being. You can say whatever the fuck you want to say about Falyn, but never has Falyn gotten online and talked about him in this way. And I feel like whatever she said about Simon, he deserved that shit. But thank you. Then it was all good. And he had the nerve to say she took his innocence. Get the hell out of here. Falyn told him to say no for her sisters, staying with them. But yet he wanted to be big man. Boy, go sit your... Exactly. He told her to bring her sisters in and that he would take care of them. And now he's trying to use these buzzwords. She took my youth away. She groomed me. You are trying to malign her the way older, nasty men are maligned for what they do to young women. They should be maligned. This is not the same. Thank you, Mary Sparkles. Like, well, for the super chat, he's very manipulative. It's giving Jonah Hill, weaponizing therapy jargon to justify his nasty ass sensibilities. And I agree. And
having another man you can lean on. When you don't have that, it's really hard, right? That's why we tap into all of these different emotions and things like that, because you need to look at somebody who understands what you go through, right? If I got a male problem, imagine only being able to go to my mom about it.
That's all I had.
Right?
That's
what I'm saying. So, like, I would just encourage you whenever you're ready and in that space to really dive into that and see what that looks like. Not for any other reason other than to heal. It ain't necessarily like it's going to change something or whatever. I love my dad where he's at, but like you mentioned, the boundaries, that's really important. So the boundaries are set. I make sure I do my part. He has a relationship with my kids. Like, if he wants to see them, whatever the case may be, cool. But I don't lean on him for any type of male advice. I'm not coming to him for that because I had to learn how to be a man on my own through my own trials and triumphs and all of those situations that I've been through.
That's exactly that's just what I've just learned stuff by myself. So I do lack in other places. I was never taught it. But one thing I can't agree with you on is going back to fix a problem I didn't break. So that being said, with my dad, and him saying, beat my mom that my mom deserved. I just can't do that. I cherish that woman. She raised me, and we've always had me, my sister, and her. It's always been that. So I don't want to know why. I think I'm better at peace. No contact at all. It is what it is. I don't talk to him. I don't want you around my daughter. That's just what it is. And I don't want to know why.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be with him. It could be through the work. Right.
True.
So I'm not trying to say we got to holler at the source.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because some things with some people, they are where they are.
Right.
And that's not going to get us anywhere. But I sat on the couch and I did a lot of work. And I looked at myself and I asked questions, because I'll end it with this. I said I wasn't going to be like my father, right? My dad has multiple kids by multiple women. Guess who did the same thing unintentionally?
Yeah.
That's how deep this thing goes, right? So I want to make sure that I break that for my boys. I want to make sure I break that for my girls. I don't want there to be that type of, generational anything that continues to be passed down, because it's okay. And whatever I can do on my end to do that, I'm willing to do that. So that from your standpoint, I do understand what you're saying. You don't have to go to him, but I know for me, a lot that was done, on this type of furniture, you know what I'm saying, with a trusted person. So that was all.
In therapy.
To be honest, I've never even had that trusted person. I never even went through that. And that's something that I plan on looking into. We did it on the show, but I've never had a therapist.
So you went on the show with a therapist, and I'm sure they impressed upon you to get a therapist. And instead of going and getting a therapist, you decide to come on this fucking podcast so that you can make your ex look like a bad person that groomed you. Okay. All right.
I keep everything.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand how you unintentionally go around creating children.
Okay. So when we come back, we'll continue the conversation on the complexities of dating.
Relationships
Those are the things I don't know how you want to box that into one word, but that's things that I had an issue with.
So then my question for you, because some of those things you have control over in terms of,
I don't know the ingredient.
Jalen, based on what you've learned thus far in your journey, your healing journey, the experiences that you had in your previous relationship, what do you think are the ingredients to a successful relationship?
I don't know the ingredients to a successful relationship, but I know the ingredients I don't want in there. And that's is not being understood, communicating, and not being able to express how I feel.
Okay, so didn't he say he could talk to her? Didn't he say that, she listened to me? I'm very confused.
Or not having to say so. Those are the things I don't know how you want to box that into one word, but that's things that I had issues with.
So then my question for you, because some of those things you have control over in terms of not being able to express yourself. What do you think you'll do differently moving forward? Maybe your next relationship, so that you can create a safe space where you can communicate how you feel and create a space where, you feel more heard by your partner. What do you think you'll do differently in terms of picking your partner and just creating that space?
I won't rush into a relationship. I will learn the person first.
Okay.
And that was another, I won't rush. Yeah, I won't rush into the relationship. I will literally get to know them from top to bottom. And I know you won't learn them overnight. It's going to take time. And the problem is with me, I love hard, and I can fall in love overnight and not even know who the person is for real, just because they're giving me attention, they're talking to me, those things. But I went left-footed again.
That's okay, because I can identify with what you said. I mean, someone said to me, people say, I love hard, and this person said, no, I just love. And I'm the same way. I'm clear on what I want. I know what I want before I even get into the situation, right? But I could do a better job of vetting those situations and protecting myself and my energy and creating those healthy boundaries, until we get to a point.
So him acting like he did not know her is bullshit to me. I feel like you do know who she is. I just feel like now something has happened where you're upset about how it's all played out. And I would like to hear from Falyn at this point. Like, now you got me wanting her to come and talk and tell us her side of it, because it feels like something must have happened. Why couldn't y'all just break up and move on without you getting online to call her a grooming predator?
Where we're both on the same page in terms of where the relationship is going, and having more conversation about where it is, where we see it going, where, where we're going to go together. So.
Because I have so many different perspectives. Like, first thing, I just want to encourage you, brother. Like, if you are who you are and that's the way that you love and that's the way that you feel, Like own that. And why I'm saying that is because for two, it's a cold world out here. You got people that can put on a front until they get to what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So we can sit up there and we can easily say, right, that, man, I should have vetted this person. I needed like at least 1.5 years, 2 years. I'm speaking from experience. I know people that sit and wait. I've seen it myself, whether it's been my own personal, whether I watched it or whatever. People will sit and wait for however long for the opportunity. As men, we do this all the time. Might be that nice little young thing you was thinking about. We'll sit and be cool. We'll be the homie 5 years, 10 years. She'll slip up one day and be like, come confide in you or whatever.
Yep.
This nigga telling you how they set up women to manipulate them, but we gonna keep acting like men and women are the same.
And you done mashed
I
together.
don't know no woman that's sitting by 5-10 years playing friend to a nigga so she could fuck him eventually. Those are usually called pick-me's, and you can see them coming from a mile away. They not sitting back chilling, acting like they about to be your fucking friend. But yeah, come on, exactly. Predator behavior. But let's keep acting like men and women are the same. They're both doing the same thing. Everybody's doing the same thing.
Yes. So
And
we
then-
can do that for some buns. If we can do that for some buns, we can definitely do that as
For the
far
right
as
person.
relationship, because there are people out there, man, they got agendas.
Mm.
And it's I wish there was some blueprint that we can give to men and women on what that looks like. But I do think being authentically you and riding that till the wheels fall off and just coming to terms with, I might get it right and I might not, but not beating yourself up about it is the thing. Because the flip side is, right, if you're really going to protect yourself, in my opinion, don't have kids, because you can be with somebody and break up and then that be. But once a child is involved, now it's tricky. It's forever.
I just remember what I wanted to speak about.
There we go.
This is like the biggest topic, and it's nobody speaks about it a lot. How to heal from that person while co-parenting.
Josh,
That is the most hardest
ask
thing
Melody.
to do.
that's got to be difficult because you still got to see
See
that
them.
person. You
Talk
still
to
got to
them.
engage them and talk to them. How do you do it, Josh?
Hey,
Come on,
listen,
y'all.
that's part one and part two of a whole different segment. I'm trying to tell you, because
Thank
it's
you.
to his point, there's so much to unpack there. For me, I'm in a space where I think about these kids. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Because of that, I got love and I keep it respectful, right? It does take a village, and we all in this together. So for me, I've removed the emotion. I've removed all of that, whatever else. I've forgiven and I've gone on. That doesn't mean that they don't frustrate me at times or I'm not upset about certain things. But at the same time, I'm missing out too, right? So if you're getting in the way of me talking to my kids, if you're getting in the way of me seeing my kids, these are my issues. If you don't do that, I ain't got nothing to gripe about. You know what I'm saying? Give me the time. Like, I'm their father. Don't try to replace me. There's nobody else. There's me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not dead. I didn't do nothing to abuse these kids. I didn't do nothing to abuse you. There's none of that. So that topic is so heavy.
My situation is way different because, like I said, I love hard. And when we broke up, there was already somebody in the picture. And come to find out, her 9-year-old was already calling him dad. And I was still in love with her. Still this day, I still have love for her. To some point.
That's why. I said there was a reason. Oh, because she scooted you over like she did with okay. Now we see why she's the bad guy. How long has y'all relationship been over? And now you gonna come up to us telling us that, oh, she already got her kids calling somebody daddy. Nigga, y'all been broke up for how long now? Child.
But so I was hurt.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm the type of person, I would have never done that to you. I would have never abandoned you and just left you and moved on with life. And she has so much trauma in her life. I'm scared to let my daughter be raised like that.
I have a question, because you say, she moved on quickly and you said you in love with her even to this day to a certain degree. What is it that you love about her?
But I feel like he answered it though. The reason being is,
What was
we
it?
talked about at the beginning, right? He talked about he remembers the good moments, the great moments, right? Whatever those times were. I feel like when people are like,
Ma'am, you didn't hear when he said she listened to him and she's a great mom and all of that. You didn't hear none of that shit? Okay.
still kind of in that space, like you're like, yo, like we did have some really cool times and some really good moments. And sometimes that is enough. Why do you think some people are still in relationships and they're hanging on, even the ones that are together and they haven't split up? They're literally mentally and emotionally hanging on to what was.
What was that? Right.
And they're grasping, and no matter what, you can tell them all day. You can have interventions, you can have the therapy sessions, but until they get to that place where it's like, okay, I got to turn.
She doesn't all of a sudden turn into a fucking villain because she's moving on like Maya very quickly too soon, the way she did with you. You was cool with it when it was happening to Simon, and you was being moved into the spot. Now that y'all situation is over and should have been over, and now she didn't move somebody else into the spot, and now you want to get up here and call that lady a predator? Okay, nah.
Turn that corner is hard.
I'm sorry.
This is a topic that I had to learn myself. Don't fall in love with your best friend. Because as he was speaking on it, it's hard to let go of those good things we had, with everything we did, all those memories. Because that was my best friend, so we always had a great time.
Baby, please don't listen to this nigga. Marry your best friend. That's usually the smartest thing to do. Y'all is not best friends. Y'all thought y'all was.
And I'm still holding on to those memories. That's why it's harder for me to let go. And he said, that's the reason I'm holding on to those memories, because that was my best friend. So it's harder to let go of who used to be my best friend. So I say, don't fall in love with your best friend, because at the end of the day, you're going to lose both of them when things get bad, no matter what anybody says.
I think it's mad fucked up the way people make women seem like they so fucked up when they move on quickly. Why do you feel like you're entitled to some woman waiting forever to move on to prove she's respectable? I mean, I do feel like Falyn needs to be by herself. Falyn is absolutely entering into another toxic relationship as we speak, because she's never taken any time to get herself together. We got that. But it's weird to me the way men do the same thing, and y'all always run like, oh, women, you know, oh, they fuck. Girl, ain't nobody got to put no time limit on they shit. The fuck? If I
would be a friend. That's
on.
not true. That's not true. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose both of them. So you choose if you want to cross that line. I prefer nobody cross that line ever, because I'm not doing that. I can't. You can't be my best friend and my love. That's not true.
They've been broke up.
Wow.
It's just.
When we come back, guys, we'll continue the conversation on
So
that.
he letting y'all know, all y'all bitches that's coming after Falyn, he about to be a savage with y'all. Savage season, fellas. Cue this. Cue this. I know it sounds fucked up.
Friends and lovers. Like you said, you would never get into a situation like where you would make your partner your best friend. Talk more about that.
I wouldn't make my best friend
your best friend, your partner. Right.
Yeah, I won't do it, because at the end of the day, it's going to hurt when it does end. If it does end, not saying it all ends, but it's going to hurt when it does end, because you lose both of them.
But I always understood relationship to be your partner should be your best friend.
To a certain point. But you guys, if you're best friends first, like, it's hard. It's like, because you can't get out that friendship zone. You still treat each other like friends when that person doesn't see you as a partner, just sees you as a friend, and you can't get out of that.
So you can't get out of the partnership, but have you made attempts to work on the friendship?
No.
Or are you even willing to do that? Like put the relationship aside and focus on the co-parenting and focus on rebuilding the friendship?
There's days where I can do that. There's days that I can't. It's an up and down deal for me. It's trying to figure out the process. But to build a friendship back, I couldn't do it because of the way how it ended and how I was left.
So the betrayal.
The betrayal. Now I feel like I have abandonment issues.
Abandonment issues.
To be clear, when they were in the relationship, Falyn was begging that nigga for affection, and he was like using it as a control thing, like as a punishment. If she told him to come upstairs because she wanted to have sex, most men would take that like, yeah, I'm gonna let her tell me to do, because I want that pussy, so I'm gonna let her tell me what to do when it comes to that pussy. Like, I'm about to argue with her about that. Yeah, I'll see y'all later. That's what most men would do. But he cared more about being told what to do. That's a red flag. He was not giving that lady what she wanted when they was in the relationship. So him now playing victim in this way is just mad weird to me. Sound like the lady said, give me the dick or I'm going to find somebody else to give it to me. And you kept holding the dick hostage and she went and found new dick. That's what it sounded like to me.
I was just left to figure it out. Like, go ahead, bye.
But let me ask you this. Have you, now that things are over, right? Have you had the opportunity to go back and have a conversation with her without all the emotion?
Yes, I did. I was taking advantage of, you know how somebody try to come back to you if you had that soft spot for them. It happened to me twice. We were talking just about what happened, everybody taking accountability, and then saying they want to work on the relationship. And Next day,
Or the friendship or the relationship? Which one?
the relationship.
Okay.
Next day, no communication. And now after all my emotions, I'm high, I'm overthinking now, I'm thinking about what you're doing. And you only did that to see if I had a soft spot for you still. Because she didn't want to get back together. And, we had sex too that day. It was just like, she was messing with my head.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been messing with my head this whole time. So, no, I can't be I can't work on anything with her right now. So I work on myself.
Okay. Josh, give this man some words of wisdom.
Okay, I'm good. Honestly, I feel like Josh wanted to call you weak and refrain from doing so, is what I feel. Let me see. Thank you, Lily Sweet, for the super chat. His reason for not marrying your best friend is when a relationship ends, he won't have the space to really dog his partner out because of respect. What? Yes. Meaning that he wants to be able to treat her like shit. And he can't treat her like shit because he still care about her. So this is his way of treating her like shit. Is posting that she groomed during this interview, saying she groomed me. That's his way of getting back at her. He's bitter. He's mad because she moved on like Maya. Oh. Honestly, I'm sorry, but I think that's exactly what she was supposed to do. Move on in silence. She moved on. And he's now trying to spray her and malign her in such a manner that I feel like is egregious. I'm sorry, but it's egregious to me to say such things about someone that aren't true like this. Like to say that somebody groomed you, like how she groomed you if y'all was best friends. That doesn't make any sense. Nobody calls their groomer their best friend. Like he all over the place. When men don't want to give up, don't want to give up the dick. He was starstruck in a reality house and immature. He was. This is why niggas ain't shit. Y'all trying to call that boy soft for expressing his feelings. That's not why we calling him soft. That's not why we calling him soft. We calling him soft because he's using his emotions to manipulate everybody and make them think that he's a victim. That's why we calling him soft, because a man that can handle his own shit don't need to be on nobody podcast crying about how they best friend groomed them, being very manipulative and using they little soft nigga shit to get people on their side so that they can kind of use social media to abuse the ex, is what it feels like to me. You ain't never seen the 5 heartbeats where the nigga said, I just cry at the drop of a hat. Okay? Niggas know how to use tears and emotions in order to get the response that they want to get out of people. Shay, sweetheart, we are not the same. I know I saw your comment earlier, so let me take this time to address you. We are not the same. My father may have been abusive, but I also can look at my father from both sides and see how great he was and also see how fucked up he was. He is also an example of a man so that I know what a good man looks like just based on my father's base level. We are not the same. You have not healed from your situation. My father is usually the good example and the bad example. He showed me a lot. I'm still grateful to this day because of who my father was. Regardless to whether he was abusive or not, I could see him clearly. That's why I can love him the way that I did and the way that I still do, because I can see him as a human and clearly. And I can also see that most of these niggas out here ain't capable of my daddy's minimum. We are not the same. You need to go and heal your mother wound so you can have more empathy and sympathy, not only for other women, but for yourself. Because at the end of the day, we should be able to have a conversation and assess Jalen without every comment being about how some woman did something. You're not in the space that we're in right now. You're in your own shit and you're projecting it. I'm not projecting the issues that I have with my father on anybody. Because at the end of the day, I still see my father better than most of these niggas. He's still better. Even with being abusive and all of that, he is still better than most of the niggas that I see to this day. So trust me, the abuse that I went through is not the same as whatever you going through. Because I can still look at this situation from both sides. And I can deal with Jalen in the moment. I can assess how Falyn is fucked up too, but I can deal with Jalen in the moment because we talking about Jalen, because Jalen is the one that's doing the fucking interview. But every time I say something that I'm clocking about him, you in the comments, women do the same thing. Women. That's the issue, baby. Whether you want to recognize it or not, that's the issue. You letting us know that you ain't healed whatever issues you got with your mama, so you're going to keep projecting that on this situation. Get that together. All right? And I'm saying that from a place of love. Okay? You commenting so you're not listening. But when you come and watch this back, listen to me again. You're doing yourself a disservice. I don't even know you. And I know you're doing yourself a disservice in your life. I know you don't give yourself enough grace because you're a woman. So if you on this page right now, caping for this nigga like you doing, it's because in some way, shape, or form in your own life, you don't give yourself enough grace. You don't give yourself enough of the benefit of the doubt. Okay? It's all love. It's all love. I was assuming Shay K wasn't a dude. I could be wrong. But either way, that would make my point even more. As soon as I saw my parents clearer, as soon as I forgave my mother, as soon as I was able to look at her situation and be like, you know what? You may not have done exactly what I wanted you to do, but you did the best you could. And I understand it and I respect it. So now I can look at women and have compassion for where they are in the moment. How a lot of things they don't understand, a lot of things they don't get because they're not socialized to understand or get it. It's my ability to assess my own life experiences, but then separate myself and look at what's happening around me. And that's the difference between you and I. You're not doing what I'm doing. And that ain't shade. I'm just letting you know because you were saying that. All right? Now, go walk outside. Take a deep breath, girl. You know what I'm saying? Go recalibrate yourself. I'm going to go do the same. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't no beef. It's all love. And I love you enough as a stranger to be honest and genuine with you and tell you something that might help you instead of cursing you out or going off on you like everybody probably wanted me to do. So receive it, please, because it's coming from a genuine place. Because if I wanted to handle you fucked up, I could have, and I didn't because I didn't want to. Because I see where you at with it. And when you get where I'm at, then we could have a conversation. But you ain't where I'm at with it yet. So we ain't got nothing to talk about. But you have a good one. And the rest of y'all do the same. Okay? Thank you, DeQuasia, for the super sticker. I appreciate you, my love. Okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead about my way. And I'm going to go watch Love and Hip Hop Atlanta so that I can come to y'all with that bullshit either tomorrow or tonight. We'll see how I feel. But anyway, y'all have a good rest of y'all day, okay? Mwah! All right?